are the champion, the one that holds the line and finishes the mission. Everything that you want is within your grasp. You wake up in the morning ready to dominate the day, and every step taken is with purpose and integrity. Because you were not put on this planet to live a mediocre existence. You are here to conquer and make the biggest impact possible, not only for yourself, but for your family and for your tribe. This world is a battlefield, and we will be victorious. This is the Norse Mentality.
What's up, guys? I hope that you are having a glorious day. Today, me and Cowboy Cody here are going to talk about what you can accomplish in 6 months when you really just put your head down and focus on whatever mission that you've set. So the first thing here that we need to tackle is intention. Why are you doing this? What is the purpose behind this? Because if there's not a strong intention and there's not a strong purpose, you're just going to give up. There's not enough meaning behind it, right? And then direction. You're just going to wander aimlessly if you don't have an actual endpoint in mind and then a path of how you're going to get to that endpoint. And then, of course, efficiency. How can I do this in the most effective way possible? That way, we can get to this endpoint as quickly as possible in the most powerful way possible, and we can move on to the next objective. So with that in mind, what do you think would be the first thing with intention? Like, how do we set an intention, get our purpose clear? That way we kind of have our North Star that's guiding us.
What I like to do is explore that intention to its depth. I don't like that intention to be shallow. If your intention is shallow, when shit gets real, if that intention is shallow, it's not going to carry you through. But if your intention that you set is rooted very deeply, and you kind of fall off, which always happens, you're going to fall off at some point. But if you have a very strong intention, a very strong, deeply rooted why, that's going to push you when nothing else can.
That's that internal fire. Those are the logs that feed the fire, that internal fire. That way when that fire starts going out, okay, well, how do I get this ignited again? How do I find that motivation, that willpower, that ambition to continue working towards this objective that I've set?
We've talked about this in the past. Why do we do what we do with Norse? It's for us. It's for our friends. It's for our family. It's for our community. It's for our culture. When you have a why that's rooted that deeply,
there is no giving up.
There's not. You become unstoppable.
And that's the whole thing here is we need to set a strong intention. We need to have a purpose. And people overthink purpose. I don't know what my purpose is. Your purpose is to help other people. That's every human's purpose on this earth is how can we move humanity forward in a better way? How can we help each other? Whenever you're helping other people out of just pure love, not selfishness, but I want to do this because I believe in it and I know that I can contribute something to society and I have an obligation to do so, you are unstoppable because it's outside of yourself. Think about it. You're just one person. But when you know that you can help thousands of people or even 10 people for that matter, 10's greater than 1.
1's greater than nothing.
Exactly. Right. So yes, like doing things for yourself is important. You should. But if you can have a goal that's going to benefit everyone around you, your family, your friends, overall community, you are unstoppable because that fire is always going to stay lit. Even when it's just embers, man. Like even when you don't have much left. But if you put a little of focus on it and attention and you breathe into it, and you continue feeding that fire more and more through action, right? So how do we feed that fire? It's with action. But in order to get the motivation, the ambition to take action, we have to start somewhere. We have to find that internal strength. That internal strength is your purpose. That is the intention behind the whole objective as a whole. And once you find that, nothing can stand in your way because you could get knocked around all over the fucking place. It could seem like the sun is never going to come back out. And you just keep crawling. You're crawling through absolute shit. But you don't give up because you know that this is bigger than you. This is going to help everyone else around you. And there's always someone that can benefit from it. This doesn't have to be at a massive scale. Like you used Norse as an example, and that's definitely ours. But say you're just getting into working out. You're not working out right now. You want to be healthier. Well, who is going to benefit from you being healthier? If you have kids, your kids are definitely going to benefit. You are their role model. You need to be the dad or the mom that's showing up and showing them, hey, like, you can be the absolute best version of yourself if you follow in my footsteps. Lead by example. Well, if you have parents, a lot of our parents grew up in a generation that was not very, it was just fucked. That's the best way I can put it. There was no motivation there. There was no drive to be anything. It was kind of just, you need to work and then you need to die. And now we're starting to be like, no, like there's more. There's more to life. There's more to being a human being than just that. And because our parents grew up in these generations where everything was neglected outside of buying shit and paying for shit, you can be like, hey, I'm getting in shape and I can help you do so as well. So you're helping your parents. Your parents are going to live longer because you're leading by example for them as well. If you have friends, none of your friends are really working out yet. Well, if you start putting in the work and they see you just beaming with all this newfound energy, they see you getting jacked and juicy, they're going to be inspired. And they're going to go, hey, what are you doing? And then they might even want to come work out with you. That right there motivates me way more than trying to get in shape for myself.
The principles apply to anything. It's not, the examples we're giving. I gave an example with Norse. You're talking about the gym. The principles we're talking about can be as small as you want them to be or as big as you want them to be. But these principles are how you should approach everything you do. Intention, purpose, direction, and how efficiently can I get this done with everything.
Yeah.
And that was a big life changer for me. Like down to making my coffee in the morning. My intention is to have a good cup of coffee.
Well, when you set small intentions like that, even with just making a cup of coffee, it sets the tone for the day. If you can start setting intentions as soon as you wake up, like I'm doing this for a reason, because everything you do should be for a specific reason. But look at modern culture. What do we do in modern culture? We do everything aimlessly. Everything we do really doesn't serve any purpose. We scroll through social media. Well, you can change that as well. You're scrolling through social media. If you're following the right pages, you're paying attention to the right things, you can learn certain things. I'm going to scroll through social media because I follow a bunch of heavy hitters. I follow a bunch of people that have a lot of knowledge about a specific thing that I want to know, that I want to learn more about for myself. That way I can improve. Well, then aimlessly scrolling through social media now becomes intention-based. I'm using social media as a tool. Same with being in the car. Instead of just driving aimlessly from one location to the next, you can turn on an Audible book. You can listen to this podcast or another podcast that's going to help move you forward. That cup of coffee, what is that cup of coffee doing? Yeah, it's waking you up, but why is it waking you up? Is it waking you up just because you want to feel alert, or is it because you want to start stacking victories? Why is it that we eat food? Is it for pleasure, or is it to give us energy so we can conquer the day? Why do we take a shower? Why do we drink water? You're right. Like every single thing boils down to intention. And when we can start setting intention with every single thing in our life, well, then we live a meaningful life. And that's what everyone's seeking. That's where depression comes from. We don't feel like our life is meaningful enough. And how could it be in the world that we live in now? We focus on so much shit that doesn't matter. I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night, and she actually told me to talk about it on the podcast. I did not plan to do it on this episode, but somehow it just came full circle, so let's go. Everyone is so focused on work. Work is very important. I'm not bashing that. I think that you should work your ass off. I think that you should shoot for the stars. I think that you should try to make as much money as possible because money provides freedom. Money allows you to live a better quality of life. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, spending all of your life working and neglecting your family, neglecting your friends, neglecting your personal health for work? Why? So you can buy more shit? Money is a tool for survival. It's just a tool. It's a man-made tool that we now use in order to survive.
It's an agreed upon amount in return for your services.
Right.
That's all money is.
That's all it is. And this money that you obtain allows you to buy more things to help you survive. Well, how much do you really need to survive? Are you trying to compete with someone else that has more than you? Or are you just trying to survive so you can focus on more important shit like your family and your friends and the most important thing of all, your personal health? But how many people neglect their personal health because they don't have time to work out? I was actually over in the Norse compound this morning doing cardio, and one of our gym members came in. She's a sweetheart, but she was talking about that. She's like, I haven't been in here in like a month because I got this promotion at work, and I just, I'm barely having any time to sleep and all this stuff. You're neglecting your personal health now. And I've fallen into that trap as well. This isn't me talking shit. If anyone is guilty of that, it's me. Especially when I get my eye on the prize and I'm like, I'm going to reach this fucking goal no matter what with business. And I do start to neglect my personal health. But at the end of the day, why? What is more important? And this is what kind of really helped it click in my head. And this is in regards to my relationship with my girlfriend. Whenever I'm 80 years old, the only thing I'm really going to have left at that time is my partner.
Hopefully, right?
Like at the end of the day, when I'm 70, 80, 90 years old, the only thing I have is my family. All the shit that I obtained as far as materialistic items go, I'm not going to have any of that shit anymore. The car, I will have many more cars than the one I have right now. The house, I will probably live in a different house. TV, anything that we buy, even food, is here 1 second and then it's gone. It's fleeting. The shit that we are working so hard to obtain that we think is important doesn't matter. And then we get to 80 years old and we regret it all because we've neglected our kids. We've neglected our spouse. We've neglected our community, our friends.
You haven't experienced life.
You haven't experienced life. You haven't traveled because all you did was work 80 hours a week and you wore that as a badge of honor. Yes, working is important. We fucking work our ass off here and we always will. But at the same time, I will never again, because I have, and that's why I'm saying this, I will never again sacrifice my relationships to people that I care about to obtain anything materialistic. Because this shit doesn't fucking matter. Because like I said, all of it is fleeting. None of it's going to be around in 50 years. The only thing that I will have is my partner, my kids, hopefully their kids, my friends, the ones that I've stuck around, my ride or dies, my bros, my health. That's the only way I live to be 80 years old. I want to live to be 100, man. Like I want to experience life as long as I can at the best health that I can, because that's the only way that you can experience life is if you are healthy. Those are the only things that matter. So when we are sacrificing all of that to make more money, to buy shit that we don't really need, because at the end of the day, all we need is shit to survive. We need a fucking roof over our head. We need transportation to get from one location to the next. We need food for survival, for energy. That way we continue doing what we're doing. You don't need anything else outside of that. But we think that we do. And why do we think that? Because of the fucking culture that we live in. Why does Norse have a shirt that says abandoned modern culture? It's because of that fucking type of shit right there. It's fucked. That is not real purpose. That is not real intention. It's just like with Norse, right? Like we'll go back to that. It's very easy because this is what we do. We don't ever talk about sales, which is very weird for a company. We don't ever sit around and it's like, we made this much money last month. We made this much money. We base it off of orders. And the reason we base it off orders is because that is how much impact we're having with many different individuals. If I have, say, 10 people that purchase $100 worth of shit from Norse, cool. That's great, I guess, whatever. But if I have 500 people that even spend $10 fucking dollars, amazing, great. Because that's 500 people that we're reaching with our message and what we are trying to push onto the world, because this is something that we believe in. This is our purpose. This is our intention. And we're always trying to get in front of new people because without a shadow of a doubt, we believe in what we're doing and we're always trying to help more people. That is our purpose. Whenever you base it off of money and materialistic shit, It's fragile.
Shallow.
It's very fucking shallow, going back to your point. And that's what started my whole rant. So we need to dig deep into this. What is my purpose? Is it to make more money? Yeah, it should be to a certain extent, of course, because money allows you to level up your quality of life. And why not? Why not live in a nice house in a nice neighborhood? Why not have a good, reliable car? Why not eat nice food that's going to give you plenty of energy and keep that health good? But at a certain point, it's shallow. It's always fucking shallow because it's not a necessity. What is a necessity is those around you and your personal self. So when we're sitting down to think about this objective that we're working towards, that's what we're trying to get at here with intention. What is the real reason? And is this reason enough to keep me going? Because you're going to get rattled. You're going to get knocked around like a motherfucker, no matter what you're doing. And eventually you build a tolerance to this type of shit, but there's always something else. And that's been the one thing that I've learned the most with business. And anyone else that's listening that owns a business can definitely relate to this. The things that you used to deal with that was a big deal become nothing, but there's always something bigger. The more that we grow, the more that we level up as an individual as well. This doesn't just apply to business, it applies to everything. It applies to the gym. The more we level up, we then have to take on more in order to get that same effect. So it's just like in the gym. If you're lifting weights, you start off with, say, 135 pound squat. You're just getting started. You start squatting with 135 pounds. Well, eventually that 135 pounds is no longer stimulating the muscle enough to grow. So we need to ramp it up a little bit. We need to put on some more weight. Well, that's how life is as well with leveling up. Well, every time that you level up, you're going to be met with bigger obstacles that you need to overcome. Those smaller obstacles, though, that you dealt with in the past that you thought were a big deal that really weren't, that was preparing you for the next thing. And having that intention, that purpose that we're referring to, is what allows you to continue moving forward when those obstacles come along, because some of those are going to be so fucking big. They're like, I don't know if I can do this. But if that intention is there and you're like, why am I doing this? I have to. I have no other option but to climb this fucking mountain through this storm to get to the top of this. And if that intention is not good enough, you will never get to the top of that mountain. And from my personal experience, the only way that is whenever we base it around other people and helping other people outside of ourselves. And it always starts with ourselves, though. That's the thing. Why do we start working out? Because we want to be healthier for ourselves. Why do we continue working out? Is it ego driven? That could be cool too. I have no problem with that. Get jacked and juicy for yourself. Look as good as you can. Be as athletic as you can. But when you can make it bigger than that, the bigger picture here. What is the bigger picture? It's helping those around me. That's who I visualize in my head when I'm having to go through the shit. And we all have to. If you're doing anything with your life, there's going to be times when you're just like, this is fucking terrible. I don't know if I can do this. And then that mental image pops into your head. That purpose. For me, it's my little girl. It's my team here. It's you guys. I can't let you guys down. I have to get to the top of this mountain. I don't care what I have to fucking do. If it was just for me, it would be a lot easier to give up. But whenever I know that other people are relying on me to succeed, I have to. So that's what we're referring to here. Hopefully that's clear enough, and hopefully it gives people enough perspective where it's like, okay, is my intention good enough? If not, then let's go back to the drawing board. Let's make it good enough, because you can. Like you said, you can apply this to any aspect of your life. It doesn't matter. Go back to the drawing board and keep dissecting that why until you get to the bottom of it. We're like, this is deep. When I think about failing this, I want to fucking cry. That's how deep this shit needs to go. In order for you to actually achieve success and whatever you're trying to do, it has to be so much that when you dissect it to the deepest level, that the thought of failing just, it upsets you, because you're like, I can't allow that to happen. No. You know, it's got to affect you at an emotional level. And that's a good thing. It's not something that you should avoid. That's how you know. This is the real fucking deal right here. Like, this is what I got to fucking do.
So you build that intention, you build that purpose, you get the depth in it, then you set your direction.
Your direction. Because where else, how do you know where you're going?
Yeah. You get in your car and you just hit the gas immediately, put the pedal to the floor.
If you run into the lake,
Yeah,
you hit the damn wall.
You have no idea where you're headed.
You end up in fucking New York when you're trying to get to California. Like, yeah, you have to have this direction. How else do you know where you're going? You're just wandering around aimlessly. And that's where people fuck up when it comes to goals and obstacles, is they know actually, they don't look deep enough into it to see where they actually want to go. I want to lose weight. That's not good enough. How much weight do you want to lose? What is your life going to look like whenever that happens? That's the destination. That's what I'm referring to here. That's what you're talking about. What is the direction? It's not just like, how am I going to get there? It's like, no, what does it look like when I get to the end of it? What is the final destination here? It's visualizing that in your head. And then it's developing that plan of attack. Okay, cool. Like, this is where I want to get. This is where I want to go. How do I get there? What direction do I need to go? Do I need to go north, south, east, whatever? And that takes planning. And that takes what we were just referring to, purpose and intention. It takes having a clear visualization in your head of, this is what it's going to look like. And as long as I know what this is going to look like, then why not? And then also believing in yourself too. I think that's probably the hardest part, is really believing that you can do it. But that comes with time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say your purpose, your intention is your main point, but also that end goal, that direction you're taking, also builds on top of the fire you've already built with your purpose and intention.
Yeah.
You go ahead and build your fire, purpose and intention. You get your direction, and then it's just making it happen at that point.
Yeah.
It's making it happen, and being able, yeah, the direction is nice, the end goal is nice. I would say you have to also be able to pivot.
No, you absolutely have to be able to pivot
when you need to.
And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they're failing and that they're fucking up when they pivot. No, you have to be okay with pivoting. That's the only way that you reach that final destination, because you don't know what's going to happen. You know where you want to go, but you don't know what roadblocks are going to be there along the way. And there will most definitely be roadblocks. There are going to be so many fucking obstacles that you never thought were possible that are going to stop you from getting there. And you have to figure out, okay, how am I still going to get there? Well, this did not go as planned. Now what do I need to do? You may have to scrap the entire first plan and come up with a whole different one. But because you have that final destination in your head, you know where you're going. And it doesn't really matter how you get there. You just know you're going to get there. So this first plan, okay, cool. Like, this is not the route that I thought I needed to take. And I need to come up with a new one. Let's go this direction. I think this direction's best. And you may get started on that one, and you're like, fuck, this isn't it either. Let's try this different one. With that being said, though, you need to test these things. You need to hang on for a while until it's like, I would say it's until it's very evident that you are being defeated. Whenever you are just like, okay, no matter what I do, I'm not getting ahead. It's a constant uphill battle. And there is no like middle ground here. It's just, this has been a constant uphill battle with this current trajectory that I'm on. Well, how do I change that trajectory? That way it's a little bit easier and I can get there a little bit quicker, because it shouldn't be just a straight uphill battle. There's going to be times when it is. There's going to be times when you have to crawl through it and all that, but there's going to be times too when you just like, should be able to walk over to the motherfucker. But I would say it's like when you're really just feeling defeated, that's when you need to pivot.
Yeah.
And you need to be okay with pivoting.
It's time to reevaluate a few things.
It's time to reevaluate,
fine, man. Like, that's, for me, if things go straight, narrow, and super easy for a while, I get a little skeptical, man. I'm like, well, am I taking the easy path? Am I really doing all I can to put in the work and move everything forward?
I'm always waiting for it. So this has actually been a thing here lately. It's like things are going a little bit too easy. I'm like, this is sick. This means that this is supposed to be happening. This is cool. Like, everything's working in my favor. And then out of nowhere, so much shit happens. I'm like, there it is. I knew it was coming. There it is. But then I get excited for it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's boring.
It's another challenge.
It's another challenge. Like if everything was just so easy to achieve, we wouldn't do it. It's boring. Like what's the point? Like where's the growth there? Where's the effort? Where's the reward? Because the reward is the growth. It's not the final destination, it's the growth from it. And if it was just like, oh, I can just do this effortlessly, then it's like, there is no challenge. It's like doing a puzzle that's super easy.
How rewarding is it over time if everything is just effortless? For me, it's not. I have to be challenged, and I have to push myself to feel fulfilled.
So with that being said, with the effortless part, there's a middle ground there, I think. Yes, there needs to be a challenge there. You need to be able to pivot because you're going to have to switch trajectories and stuff like that. But at the same time, how can we get there in the most efficient way? How can we really just make this as effortless as possible? Because why not? Making it effortless doesn't mean that you're being lazy or some shit. It means that you're being fucking smart. It means that you're not the dipshit that's convinced himself that he needs to grind 150 hours to do something, when in reality, if he just like actually sat down for a second and was like, oh, actually, I could do this in 40 hours a week and get the same results, if not better results, because I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to have my mood's going to be better because I'm not running myself into the ground. See, that's the difference there, right? Like we want to be as efficient as possible because a lot of times, especially in this world that we live in now, it's encouraged for people to just run themselves into the ground, which you should. If you're running yourself into the ground and there was no other option, sometimes you have to. And that's a good thing. That's where character is built. That's where that work ethic is from. It's an amazing thing. But now it's to the point where we no longer use our mind. We no longer use this amazing computer that we have in our head that's supposed to help us solve problems. We kind of just turn off. It's like, no, like I need to grind nonstop. It has to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. There's going to be obstacles that appear that are out of your control that make it harder, but we should try to accomplish this mission the most efficient way possible. It's like going into battle and being like, I want this battle to be the hardest battle possible. I want so many people to fucking die. No, like you want to get victory the quickest and best way possible to save the most lives and to take the least amount of damage.
To also save your most valuable currency.
Right.
Your time.
Your energy.
Your time. Money comes and goes.
Time doesn't.
Time is one of those things. Once it's past, it's past.
And that was a huge turning point for me. And this was about 3 to 4 years ago when I started valuing my time more than money. I was like, no, I'm not doing this because my time could be spent better doing this thing over here. That has nothing to do with money. But this is going to make me a healthier, happier person. So I'm going to. But going back to the efficiency part, why not try to be as efficient as possible? Why not try to make it as smooth as possible? Being prepared for shit not working out and having to switch gears, and then figure out the most efficient way based off this new path that you're on. But it shouldn't be this, I want this to be as hard as possible when you're trying to accomplish a goal. It's like the people do this. I use the gym a lot because it's the easiest thing. People do this all the time with working out. They come into the gym, they work out for 4 fucking hours, and they wear it as it's a badge of honor, as if they're doing something great. I grinded in the gym for 4 hours today. That's how I'm seeing the results that I have. Well, how much did you sleep last night? Oh, yeah, I only slept for like 2 hours, man, because I was up at the gym till midnight. How much food did you eat? I had a protein shake and ate a pizza beforehand. Cool. Well, if you slept more and you ate better quality food more often, you'd only have to spend about 60 minutes in the gym and you would see better results. So hopefully that helps it click in people's head. Like we apply that to everything, either if it's with business, the gym, our relationship, whatever it is. What is this final outcome that we want to achieve? And how is the most efficient way to get there? If I'm going into the gym, I most definitely want to only work out for an hour and get the best results possible instead of spending 6 hours in the motherfucker so I can post it on Instagram that I just spent 6 hours in the gym. When I see shit like that, I don't mean to sound harsh, but that tells me that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I've been there myself as well with everything. I used to be that person. But now it's like you're not working in an intelligent way. And at that point, you're sacrificing your time, which is the most valuable thing, and you think that that's okay when it's not. Instead, let's actually figure out a plan where we can do this the most efficient way possible. And how do we do that? We read books. We actually use the internet for something other than just fucking liking photos and trying to get attention. We do research. We talk to people that have already been there, done that. We get mentors.
Reevaluate. You meditate. Figure out what works best for you.
Go on walks in nature and just set your intention for that walk is to figure this shit out. What do I need to do? That's what I always do.
What can I do to be more efficient and be better?
I walk every night. I spend about an hour every night walking. And it's never going out there to just walk. It's always, what do I need to work through? What do I need to figure out? That way I can go to sleep tonight. Because if I don't get this figured out on this walk, then I'm going to be laying in bed tonight trying to get a new plan. Instead, it's like, no, like I'm going to go on this walk. I'm going to turn off everything. And I'm just going to walk and I'm going to plan this out in my head. What do I need to do to accomplish this? That way I can go to sleep as soon as my head hits the pillow. But we don't take the time to do that because we think it's good to just grind, work nonstop.
Busy for the sake of being busy.
Yeah, we're busy for the sake of being busy. Why? You're busy? You don't value your fucking life and time? Because that's what that means. It means that you don't value your time. You don't value the small amount of time that you have here on this earth. Because if you did, you'd be taking some damn downtime to figure out how do I accomplish this as quickly as possible in the best way possible. That way I can move on to the next thing. So it is trying to get there as efficiently as possible. And that doesn't make you lazy. It makes you smart. It means that you know what the fuck you're doing, or at least you value yourself and you value your time more. And this is a trap that I lived in, I don't know, man, probably up until I was about 28, 29. And then it still didn't click. I don't think it even started to click till I was like 30 because I was that person. My first relationship with, this wasn't my first relationship, but my kid's mom, I 100% I was doing that. I had my kid. I was still with her mom. And it was, I just need to work nonstop. And it was with very good intention. It was like, I have to do this for my family, right? But that's the thing is, I was looking at it from that. Well, if I'm working, that means I'm trying my best. But in return, I neglected my family. And never once did I really sit down to try to figure out like what is the best way that I can go about this to get the best results. And I regret that. I do. Was it necessary? Like, yeah, I didn't know any better. And that's how I kind of like think about it now. In the beginning of any new endeavor, you don't have the knowledge and experience yet in order to execute properly.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
And going into it with that perspective is already setting yourself up for success.
Yeah. I don't know enough yet. Well, I need to start cramming my head with as much information as possible. I need to talk to people that have already been there and done that. That was the turning point for me, is whenever I let my ego go and I started looking for help through mentors. These people already knew exactly what I needed to do. I just had to ask them, hey, what do I need to do next? You need this, this, and this. Don't do all this other shit that you're currently doing. Just focus on this one objective here and you'll get there 10 times faster. Stop doing all this other stupid shit because you think it's good that you're busy. And that was like, man, it's like I got hit in the head with a fucking boulder. I was like, oh my, like once it clicked, I was like, what have I been doing? But you don't know any better. You don't have that experience yet. And that's why you got to put in the reps. You got to put in the hours sometimes. But at the same time, like, don't make that a badge of honor. Like, the badge of honor is that you're learning how to execute more efficiently. That way you don't have to be doing that all the time. Is that like, I am so confident in my ability to do this because I have so much knowledge and experience. I can do this in the shortest amount of time possible and I can achieve the mission and I can move on to the next one. That should be the badge of honor, but it's not in today's society.
Yeah, the return on that is the time saved, and that time saved is priceless.
We need to value our time more, and we need to value our time with people that we love more. If I had to boil this episode down to one thing, it's that. Level up as much as you can. Shoot for the fucking stars. Do as much as you can with this life as possible. Because why not? Why not try to achieve absolute greatness? And by greatness, I mean actual greatness, not monetary, not society norms, but like, what does it mean for you to achieve greatness? What would make it feel like you had the most fulfilling life possible at the end of this? In 60 years, when you're looking back, are you going to feel fulfilled? What do you need to do that? And then do exactly that. But do not sacrifice your time and your relationship with others to achieve it. Like, there's a balance there. And how do we do that? Is by setting a strong purpose and intention. Is making sure that we are clear about the direction that we're heading. That way we can get there as quickly as possible. And then it's working as efficient as possible. That way we can achieve absolute greatness in this life. But then we're not sacrificing what really matters most. And that's love and the people around us. That has been the only thing that has mattered since we've been walking this fucking earth, is those around us. Because without those around us, life is meaningless. It is. The only thing that matters is our tribe. Our survival depends on it. To a certain extent, your happiness does. Yeah, can you be happy without another person? Of course you can. And you should strive to get to that point where you don't rely on anyone else for happiness. But I'm telling you right now, surrounding yourself with people that you love and being present with them, and not just with them because you know that you need to be, but really just like being present, enjoying their energy, enjoying what they bring into your life. There is nothing that you can do that is more valuable than that. But we don't think about that anymore. It's because we live in a society that doesn't value tribe.
We live in a society that you don't need it anymore.
You don't, and that's why we don't value it anymore. And it's very unfortunate, and it's scary to me. I won't see it to its full extent, of course, because I only have another, hopefully 60 years left or so. But where are we heading as a society? When the one thing that has mattered the most no longer matters anymore because we don't need it. It's not a good thing. It's going to be depression, anxiety, confusion, lack of purpose, feeling like your life is meaningless. Weird. What's the one thing, or what are all the things that we struggle with as a society the most nowadays? It's that. People that have that strong tribe, people that they love, that they know that loves them, and they devote, that is their main priority, are those people and themselves. Those people don't lack those things. Those people are fulfilled. They're full of love. And because they're full of love, they have infinite energy to continue pursuing their goals, and they know that they have a strong support system. And if you don't have that right now, then go find it. Go build it. Take charge. Start surrounding yourself with people that want the same things that you do. If you're hanging out with a bunch of friends that just are not aligned with you anymore, then start going to the places where these people will be. Start turning yourself into that person. The one thing that I did that was the most beneficial thing for me whenever I was in monk mode for 2 years, so from like 2019 till August of this year, was having a clear objective of what kind of partner I wanted, and then turning myself into that person. Because you attract that.
And you attract that in, like you said, your partner, and you attract that with your close circle.
Yeah, those people will gravitate towards you. And that's the part that people neglect. Oh, this will flow into your life. No, it doesn't flow into your fucking life until you make that change within yourself, because you're blocking it otherwise. If you're a negative person and you want positive people in your life, guess what? Those positive people are never going to hang around you because you're negative right now. So first you need to work on yourself, and then you'll have these people. If you want to hang out with people that are in shape, that have good health, if you want your circle to just be a bunch of damn killers, guess what? You got to turn into that killer yourself. If you want a partner that loves you unconditionally, that's going to be your rock, that's strong enough to be your rock when times get tough, that have the same morals and values as you, well, you need to make sure that you know what your own fucking morals and values are first. And then you need to make sure that you love yourself enough where you can love someone else unconditionally because you don't need their love anymore. You're just there. You just love their presence. You love who they are, and you don't need anything else from them. You can't get there until you learn to love yourself. And if you're not strong enough to be someone else's rock, how can you ever expect them to be yours? So it all starts with leveling up ourselves. But the reason we're doing that is not only for ourselves. We're doing it because we want everyone around us to benefit from it. We want to have an amazing group of people. We want our tribe to be strong. That way, together, we can live the best life possible. And the whole reason that we decided to make this episode, the reason that it was at the top of our mind is because obviously this is stuff that we've done. But most importantly, most recently, I guess, is that we recently released these 4 new supplements. We are not a supplement company. We are now, but we were not before. We sold clothing and fitness accessories. And then back in August, we're like, we're going to make 2 pre-workouts. We're going to make a greens that does so much more than just greens. And we're going to upgrade focus. And we're going to do it by January. Not really knowing what the fuck we're doing. But the reason that we were able to release all of this shit by January was because we had a clear intention of what we wanted. And the purpose was beyond ourselves. We knew that these supplements were going to help other people, which means that we had an obligation to make it happen. Because there were times when I definitely hit fucking rock bottom. All of October, November, I was at the lowest I have been in years. Everything in my life was falling apart. I remember being in this podcast room with you, and I was like, I really hope that I can just fucking get it together enough so my whole life does everything that I've worked towards doesn't fall apart. That's how bad it got. No one else really knew that. My close circle did. But what kept me moving forward through that was knowing that like these products are going to help other people. They're going to help Norse reach the next level of success. That way we can continue reaching more people. And I had to like suffer through that. I mean, it was bad. I remember just times when I'd walk into this office and just sit there emotionless because it was so heavy. And then guess what? I started thinking about that intention, that purpose. And I was like, okay, get your fucking shit together, man. Like, you have people relying on you. You have to do this. So I found that inner fire. I reignited it, and I started putting in the work. I just kept moving forward, one foot in front of the other. And it was hard, but it did it. And I know there's times with you, like running yourself into the ground. Same with the rest of the team here. Like everyone here had all hands on deck, and we had complete tunnel vision on the direction that we were going. We could have got distracted by all these different things. There were so many opportunities that came about that I said no to. Like, we're not doing that. Put it on the fucking list, and we'll get to it later. Until these 4 supplements are released, we're not doing anything else. And everyone had the same objective in mind. Or yeah, absolutely. All hands on deck for this one mission. That's it.
We wrote it on the whiteboard in our lobby back in July.
Yeah, we wrote down exactly what we were going to do. Right.
Every supplement sitting on this table and the majority of their flavor profiles and what they were on that board. And we looked at it.
And this was just an idea.
Every fucking day we came in.
And then eventually, I remember it was at the end of December, I walked in and I looked at that whiteboard actually looked at that whiteboard. I'm like, holy fuck, we did it. But because we just had our head down, putting in the work and absolute tunnel vision on the final destination, I didn't even realize it. It didn't click in my head. It's like, hey, we did it. But that's what happens. That's what you can do. This would have taken a lot of people years to accomplish. But there's also people that could have done it in 3 months.
For
so
sure.
this isn't me bragging or anything. It's just like, it's a prime example. If you want to make shit fucking happen, have a clear intention and purpose, have a direction of where you're going, and then try to get there as efficiently as possible. The amount of fucking obstacles that we ran across with this near the end was a lot. There was always something. It got to the point where someone would say something that happened, and I had already put out 15 other fires that day, that I forgot something that happened 4 hours earlier, because it was every single day was just, I was being bombarded with so much bullshit and problems that I had to solve, that I was, okay, cool, solved, what's next, solved, what's next, solved, what's next. And someone's like, yeah, so what happened with this? And I was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh yeah, that got fucking fixed within minutes, and then I moved on to the next thing. And that's what I think. I'm like, I don't know if that's healthy. I don't know if that's good. Like, it's good that, we're not getting like hung up on shit. But at the same time, like, that's how much it was. It was every single day, one thing after another. But I would have never been able to do it without that clear intention and purpose and that final destination of where we wanted to go. And then having to pivot fucking stop. It's like every night, when I'm talking about walking at night, every night was me trying to figure out how to make this fucking happen, because I had to switch gears. Well, that plan's out the window. Now what do I have to do? And then I'd come in here, and then we'd have another 4-hour brainstorming meeting. It's like, what do we need to do? What is the next thing? Okay, this did not work out. This was an absolute shit show. What do we need to do now? That way we can still reach this destination by January.
That happened with all of it.
All of it.
Manufacturers. We went through, we redesigned these labels
Every time.
4 times.
Yeah, the
like
people
a
that design,
piece.
and the people that design these labels, they're absolutely amazing. Everyone that we work with are amazing individuals.
Absolutely.
But it's like anything, when you're working with anyone for that matter, there's going to be a lot of different shit. There's multiple hands involved. When there's multiple hands involved, there's going to be a lot of things that can go wrong. And then when they do go wrong, it's being, okay, what do we have to do to fix it? This isn't at all what I thought, but okay, cool. Like, whatever. We still have to make it happen. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, if this didn't happen, that doesn't fucking matter. It happened. So now what do we need to do? This isn't me having to switch gears, doesn't mean that I've failed as a business owner. It just means that I got to come up with a new plan. That's the fun part. And I was, during one of my roughest days, I remember I was sitting there just numb. That was most of the past 6 months, was just me numb. But I was sitting there, I was thinking about all this shit that's going on, and I just started laughing and smiling, because deep down I was like, I love everything about this. I would be absolutely miserable in the worst way possible if this was just easy. Like, this is the part that I love.
It
It's
wouldn't
like,
feel right.
no, it wouldn't feel right. And it's like, and I have experienced that where everything's going right, and I'm like, cool, but I'm bored, which probably means I'm fucked in the head a little bit. But either way, we bring that up because it's just an example, right? You do it with Muay Thai as well. You started Muay Thai when?
I started Muay Thai back in last June 2022. I had some like general MMA training kind of sporadically from January to June, just to kind of get my feet wet. And then June, I went to like 2 classes, joined my current Muay Thai gym in July. Then I've been running private sessions with my coach twice a week since probably October. So it's been 6 months since I started, and I did the exact same thing. You know, as we've said previously in this episode, the situation, the example, it matters, but it doesn't, because the principles apply regardless of what that situation example is. It's the same thing. Like, my purpose, my intention of Muay Thai was to learn and to get better. My direction was forward. Like, I'd started from nothing. My direction obviously was to get sharp with my kicks, you know, get sharp with my striking. How would, and then the question was efficiency. Like, how do I do that as efficient as possible? Yeah, I could just go to a few classes in a month I could go, which would help me get better. But what is going to help me learn this the most efficient way possible? And that's why I started doing private sessions with my coach. But every session I went to, and I still do it, every private session I have, hours before, I repeat my intention to myself. I know why I'm going here and what I'm doing. I can't tell you the difference that makes and how present you are during that training session. And the more present you are during that training session, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to enjoy it. It just all those things tie in together.
And the faster you can learn it, the faster you get to that end goal. And I'm glad, it's funny that you brought up present, because the whole time you were talking, I was like, the main lesson here is to be present. Find out what you want to accomplish, set your intention, get your direction, figure out how you're going to do it. And then from that point forward, it's being present throughout the entire journey.
You enjoy it so much more.
And you get there faster. The quickest way to get there is by being present, because you're not distracted by all this other shit. You have tunnel vision on the main thing. And the only way you do that is by being present on this one thing right now. Like during this podcast, I'm present during this podcast and I'm not thinking about a bunch of other shit. If I was, this podcast wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't be able to have a conversation.
It definitely wouldn't be on the level it is.
So we actually re-recorded this one because I was not present on the last one. It was launch day of Victoria's Pumps and Berserker Frenzy. And after launching it, and which was a whole thing on its own,
Shopify went down. We recorded content.
Yeah, it's been all day recording content. I had to launch the products. We all did. There's all this shit. And I was like, well, fuck, we got to record a podcast episode because we don't have one scheduled for Monday right now, and it's Friday. And we forced it. We at least tried to force it. And I couldn't be present at all because I was mentally exhausted. And also I just had 10,000 things running through my head because we just launched 2 new pre-workouts, that the episode was shit. And then at the end of it, I was like, we can't use that because I wasn't present. I wasn't able to show up and be intentional with this episode. Going into this one, the intention was set. The direction that we knew that we wanted to take the podcast episode was set. And then from that point forward, efficiency. Well, how do I make this episode the most efficient way possible? We kind of you mapped it out a little bit in advance, which is something we're getting better at because I'm having you do it now. But you mapped it out. And then the rest of it was, okay, I'm going to be present during this conversation. That way we can provide the most information as possible, provide the most value. And also that way I can actually have a fucking conversation, because you can't have a conversation with someone that's not present.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, so anyways, guys, that's it. Just to recap, once you set this goal, this objective for yourself, make sure that you have a strong intention and purpose. That's what's going to keep you going. Make sure that you know what direction you're heading. That way you don't go off track, because you will. And then when you do get back on track, no problem. You're going there. And then be efficient. Try to get this done in the most efficient way possible. Being busy does not mean being productive.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Norse Mentality. This podcast is a byproduct of Norse Fitness. We make clothing, fitness accessories, supplements, and other tools to help you reach your true potential. You can check it out at norsefitness.co. And if you found this episode beneficial, please share it with a friend. That way we can continue to make a bigger impact and change the world. Thank you for your support, and we'll talk to you soon.